In this episode of Paul Talk, I talk about the biggest reason startups fail and how you can use some preventative preliminary steps to avoid it.
Are you listening?
If you guys want to just throw questions at me.
Damn.
What's the main reason that most startups fail? And this is a big topic that is rooted deep within me as a mentor, for various different founders at startups. And there's a trend that I've realized, and then I have created an opinion. And again, you can comment or battle me out below. But there's a defined reason that most startups fail. And that reason, I think, is that they don't think about how they're going to sell their product, how the competition is selling the product, because there's usually competition, and how difficult is it for someone to either change from using their product that they're currently using to using your product that you've just built. And I'll give you a couple of examples as we talk through this. One of the first things that I did when I started HireKeep is I looked around and I looked at the stickiness of some of these other platforms that were out there. How ingrained are they in the infrastructure of the business that they're working with? What pieces of their company, of their business, of their product are used daily? And if you think about, Facebook, for example, every time you haven't visited Facebook for a while, they'll send you a message that a new picture was posted. They'll send you a message that there was a new comment. They'll send you some kind of feed, something to get you hooked in, to get you back to, drowning out your day and looking through the feed. And a lot of companies build products that do this. And if you don't evaluate that part of your product, of the business, then you can build something, but even though a person's going to want it, they're not going to be able to purchase it, or it's going to be too much of a barrier for you to sell it quickly enough to scale. I've seen this many times with Gmail plugins and Gmail tools and email cadence tools. There are so many out there, and a lot of times when you try to sell that type of a product and somebody's already using a cadence tool of some kind, it's very deeply integrated within their infrastructure, within that company's infrastructure. And so that's part of one of the biggest reasons why startups fail, is that they forget to evaluate the competition, but not just as a business. You have to evaluate the competition as it works with the clients that they target and that you're ultimately going to target. Because if you will try to sell this to those types of clients who already are using a similar tool, but that tool is deeply ingrained, guess what? Even though they're going to want to use you, they're either going to be in a contract or they're going to be impossible to get to integrate with because they're already too deeply integrated. Another reason, as part of that biggest reasons why startups fail, is that they don't think about who they're selling to. What is my target audience? The self-identification of your product. And I think a lot of people put it on the back burner. I have talked to a lot of new founders that have developed great apps, some great tech. And then we have this conversation about, well, what kind of a salesperson do I need? And it all comes back to, well, what are you actually going to sell, right? Who are you actually going to sell this to? Especially in businesses where you have B2B and B2C, you have to decide who do you want to sell to first. And that always becomes a challenge because the level of the salesperson that you need, the type of sale it's going to be, inside sale, is an outside sale, face-to-face, right? What type of sale is it going to be when you actually start to sell your product? That's the questions that you have to ask yourself right away. I just recently spoke with a company founder that built an app as a dry cleaning app that works with buildings. Every person that uses it in the building gets a discount, and that's their avenue. It's a cool concept. And as I dug further, it wasn't really about, well, what kind of a salesperson do I need? It becomes more about, well, who do I sell to first? Do I sell B2B? Do I sell B2C? Do I just use marketing as a tactic of customer acquisition, right? So whenever you're building something or working on a product, really identify that user base first, because you don't want to run into that problem where you've built something up and then you ultimately can't sell it, don't know who to sell it to, don't know who to start selling it to. That's going to delay your whole process. And the last thing you want to have happen is you invested a lot of time and effort into building something that you can't sell. So keep that in mind when doing it. Please comment below. Let me know if you think I'm on the right track. I would love to answer any questions that you have. So watch the previous episode of Paul Talk as well, where I talk about dealing with rejection in sales. I think that's a really, really good topic to discuss and to think about, because if you are going to be going through that uphill battle of selling your newly built product, you're going to be dealing with a lot of that. So I think that'll be really helpful.